Classical Conversations, Cycle 1, Week 1 in History, has us learning about a chunk of time entitled The Age of Ancient Empires that goes all the way from creation to circa AD 450. Now, the easiest way to memorize a whole bunch of names, places, dates, and numbers is by using hand motions. So the Age of Ancient Empires is pretty simple. Age is closing your hand down into a circle, lift your pointer finger, and set your elbow on your hand. Age is just making that fall down. Ancient empires is crossing your arms. So we have Age of Ancient Empires, and this spans from creation, build a C with your hand, creation to 450 AD. 450 is 450. So Age of Ancient Empires is from creation to 450 AD. Now within that age, we have several events that happened. First of all, we have creation and the fall. Creation is when God created everything, and the fall is when we fell from that perfect union with God when sin entered the world. Creation is when you build a sun, the very first sun above your head. That's creation. And fall is when you drop your hands down. So we start off with creation, and then the fall, okay? And then what comes next is the flood and the Tower of Babel. Now, as you remember, the flood waters came up, 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 and the Tower of Babel was a ginormous monument that people built to bring glory to themselves instead of God. So we start off with creation, and then the fall, the flood, and the Tower of Babel. Start at the very beginning. We have Age of Ancient Empires, from creation to 450 AD. Creation and the fall, the flood, and the Tower of Babel. Very good. Next, we have Mesopotamia and Sumer. Mesopotamia literally means between the rivers, and here are our rivers. So Mesopotamia is between the rivers, and that is a location where there is a whole lot of civilizations. One of those civilizations was Sumer. So after we have between the rivers, Mesopotamia, we have Sumer. Now imagine that you're holding a big tablet of stone, and on that tablet there's a bunch of writing, because the folks of Sumer created a sort of writing called cuneiform. And here's your tablet of stone with the cuneiform written on it. So here's Mesopotamia and Sumer. Very good. Next up, we have the Egyptians. Now the Egyptians built a whole bunch of stuff that we can still be seeing today in Egypt, and a lot of God's people were working as slaves there, and then God set them free, and that's just a really, really exciting time in history. And the best way to remember the Egyptians, of course, is with the Egyptian dance. So after the Egyptians comes 3000 BC. So let's review. Start off with the Age of Ancient Empires. That's from creation to 450 AD. Starting off with creation and the fall, the flood and the Tower of Babel, Mesopotamia and Sumer, and then the Egyptians. And then we go into 3000 BC. Next up is the Indus River Valley Civilization. Now the Indus River Valley has a valley with a river going through it, and that area of land had a whole bunch of people that made them a civilization because they lived together, worked together, and created a way of life together. Now because of that river, they had to figure out how to get from one place to the next, and they were really excellent at that. So here they are with the Indus River Valley Civilization, and then directly after that comes the Minoans and the Mycenaeans. Now the Minoans and Mycenaeans also had to deal with water. The Minoans really didn't like pirates though, so they invented the very first navy. Now the navy is basically policemen on the water getting rid of the bad guys. So here's your ship, and you're going through the rivers to get to the pirates. So the Minoans, and then you have the Mycenaeans. And no, these aren't just mice that run around as little rodents. The people of the Mycenaean people would build a whole bunch of things using precious metals and different stones, including masks, and some of those masks had ears. But if you want to think of it as a whole bunch of mice, you can have the Mycenaeans as well. So here's the Minoans, and the Mycenaeans. And that, of course, is after the Indus River Valley civilization, and then the Minoans, and then the Mycenaeans. Okay, starting at the very beginning, we have the age of ancient empires. That's from creation to 450 AD. Starting off with creation, going to the fall, we have the flood and the Tower of Babel. The Mesopotamia and Sumer, and then we have the Egyptians. Then we're into 3000 BC. It's 3000 BC. Next up is the Indus River Valley civilization, the Minoans, and the Mycenaeans.